And we're back with David Ranson of H.C. Wainwright, former assistant to then Secretary of the Treasury William Simon. So, David, Dr. Ranson, what do you think? Will this infrastructure spending do any good first? And then we'll talk more about your thesis in your article.
Well, yes, infrastructure spending is something the economy needs. The question beyond that is, could we do it a lot better and a lot cheaper another way? The question is whether the government really knows enough to be able to choose the right way to spend the money in such a way that the economy benefits the most. And you can measure whether this is true or not true by looking at a long history of infrastructure spending. Actually, I look at total government spending, not merely on infrastructure, but there are many other forms of government spending which the same things can be said about them. Armaments is a major part of the government's expenditure, unfortunately, and is always going to be true. And the cost of running the civil service, all of these things are called public goods. So the government's total production of public goods includes, as a very major part of it, infrastructure, and it's the part that the politicians turn to when they want to do something in a hurry.
So how would you best prescribe, if you were a consultant to President Biden, have they called you? First question. And second, if they did call you, what would you tell them? How best to spend on infrastructure?
Well, of course they haven't called me. They don't know I exist. And I'd be very surprised if anybody in Washington anymore knows I exist. Although I worked there many years ago as a young person, I wasn't a major figure or anything like that. But if they did call me, if somebody did call me from Washington, I would tell them the same thing I'm trying to tell you, that infrastructure spending is not an efficient way to get the economy moving, quite the opposite. What it's doing is taking away, you could call it job opportunities or project opportunities from the private business sector, and making everybody or all of these projects into federal projects. And of course, they're directed towards uses of resources which do the most political good for the people who are looking to use them. They're not designed to maximize the benefit to the economy. So there's a very different mix in infrastructure spending when it's conducted by the government from what it might be if the private sector, which is perfectly well able to produce infrastructure, were to do it on its own in ideally in a competitive fashion.
Yeah, I mean, part of me, I drive, we live in New Jersey, and I drive on one of these infrastructure programs that was spent by the 2009 stimulus. What was that called? The Bridge to Nowhere in Alaska? There are bridges to nowhere in New Jersey. Now,
even in New Jersey,
shovel-ready projects. So driving from where I live down to beautiful Ocean City, New Jersey, or Cape May, New Jersey, to see some beautiful Victorian homes, wonderful place in New Jersey if you've never been there. Something like in a time warp.
Cape May is a nice place. I have been there.
And so when you were driving, they had this bridge. The bridge took them maybe 8 years to spend. It was part of these shovel-ready projects. So I was thinking, what are they going to do to this bridge? Are they going to widen a lane? That would be nice, so there wouldn't be traffic jams in the summer going to the Jersey Shore. They did nothing. They put stamps of seagulls on this walk, and they created like a path. No one walks on the path. It's on the parkway. It would be akin to like putting it on a major highway. No one's walking on this path. But it cost millions and millions of dollars. So the shovel-ready projects of the 08-09 stimulus were an absolute pile of garbage. I mean, you would have thought with all of the money that they spent, it would redo the crumbling infrastructure, you know, the Holland Tunnel, the Lincoln Tunnel. They would make that tunnel between New Jersey and New York. They did none of the things that were necessary. And I don't trust the government as a good spender. So I would agree with you. But is there any hope? Or is this 3.5 trillion, they're going to hash it down to 1.9 trillion, and basically $1.9 trillion is going to be pissed away and no one's better off for it. Is there any hope? Give us some hope.
Well, the hope lies in democracy, actually. The more people who are aware of the wastage involved, and the more people who are willing to spend time studying it or transmitting their ideas to still other people, the sooner we'll have some kind of resistance to this absurd level of government spending at a level we've never seen before. But that's not a lot of hope.
No, not a lot of hope. But we'd like to give our listeners some hope, and viewers on YouTube. So folks on YouTube, youtube.com, search for Josh Jalinski. Also, you can hear us on the iHeartRadio app and the Spotify podcast. We're with one of my favorite guests of all time, Dr. David Ranson.
The preceding program was sponsored by the Jalinski Advisory Group.
Any awards, rankings, or recognition by unaffiliated third parties or publications, including 5-Star Wealth Manager, Advisory of the Year finalist by Senior Market Advisor, and top of the $1 Million Roundtable, are in no way indicative of the advisor's future performance or any individual client's investment success. No award, ranking, or recognition should be construed as a current or past endorsement of Josh Jalinski or Wealth Quarterback LLC. Information regarding specific awards, rankings, or recognitions is available on the Wealth Quarterback website at www.jalinski.org. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss. Investment strategies such as asset allocation, diversification, or rebalancing do not assure or guarantee better performance and cannot eliminate the risk of investment losses. There are no guarantees that a portfolio employing these or any other strategy will outperform a portfolio that does not engage in such strategies. This broadcast should not be construed by any client or prospective client as a solicitation to effect or attempt to effect transactions in securities or the rendering of personalized investment advice. Due to various factors, including changing market conditions, the information discussed in this broadcast may no longer be reflective of current positions or recommendations. While information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, Josh Jalinski and Wealth Quarterback do not guarantee its accuracy, and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. The tax and estate planning information discussed is general in nature, is provided for informational purposes only, and should not be construed as legal or tax advice. Listeners should consult an attorney or tax professional regarding their specific legal or tax situation. Advisory services offered through Wealth Quarterback LLC.